Okay, we are back with day 2 of our story, The Cask of Amontillado. Just kind of a recap for you. The story is by Edgar Allan Poe, written in 1846. A cask is a barrel full of something, and in this case, Amontillado, which is very expensive wine. So in the story so far, we know that the narrator, who is named Montresor, he has decided to seek revenge on Fortunato. And he wants to do this revenge with impunity. So he wants to be able to do this without getting caught or getting in trouble. Okay, so that's the basic point of the story. Now, what he does is he finds his friend during the carnival season. His friend, Fortunato, is dressed up as a court jester. He's having a good time. He's had quite a bit to drink. And Montresor says, "Hey, guess what? I got this great deal on this very expensive wine. And, though, now I'm starting to wonder if maybe it wasn't the right stuff. Maybe I've been tricked." And he basically convinces Fortunato that, "I think I got tricked. I want you to come taste my wine and tell me if it's really Amontillado or if it's something cheaper and I wasted my money on it." Okay. So that's kind of where we left off. They were going to go into the vaults. Now, the vaults, also called like the catacombs, we're going to get to. It's an underground place where the dead are kept. And so in Italy at the time, there wasn't a lot of land. So they didn't bury people in cemeteries. They would have them in their catacombs. So below their house, they would have their dead. Okay, and often they were out in the open. It wasn't like they were hidden. They're just down below in the catacombs. Here's all the skeletons of all their past ancestors. Why in the heck are they going down into the catacombs? Well, the thing about the catacombs is it's underground, it's moist, it's cool, and it's a great place to store wine. So they're going to go down into the catacombs to find this wine and taste it. So again, they can prove if it really is Amontillado. Okay, so here we go. Thus speaking, Fortunato possessed himself of my arm. Putting on a mask of black silk and drawing my roquelaire closer around my person, I suffered him to hurry me to my palazzo. Okay, so Fortunato is dressed as a court jester, whereas the narrator, Montresor, is dressed all in black with a black cloak and a black mask. Okay, just a visual. But they go to his palazzo or his house, okay? There were no attendants at home. They had absconded to make merry in honor of the time. Absconded means to leave hurriedly and secretively, typically to avoid detection of an arrest or unlawful action. Basically here they had all snuck out and left because it's the carnival and everyone wants to go out and have a good time, right? Now, listen to this next part. So I had told them that I should not return until morning, and had given them explicit orders not to stir from the house. These orders were sufficient, I well knew, to ensure their immediate disappearance, one and all, as soon as my back was turned. So, it's the middle of the carnival. The master of the house says, "I'm going to leave the house. I'm going to be gone all night. You are not to go anywhere. You must stay here. Don't go out and party, but I will not be here to check." And so as soon as he left, of course, all of the servants were like, yeah, whatever, I'm out of here. And they all went off. Now, the narrator knew that they were going to do that. He's not dumb. He knew, okay, if I say I'm not going to return, but you better stay here, he knew they'd leave. Think about why he told them that in that case. Okay? Okay. I took from their scones 2 flambeaux, or torches basically, and giving one to Fortunato, bowed him through several suites of rooms to the archway that led into the vaults. I passed down a long and winding staircase, requesting him to be cautious as he followed. We came at length to the foot of of the descent, and stood together in the damp ground of the catacombs of the Montresors. The gait of my friend was unsteady, and the bells upon his cap jingled as he strode. Why would he be unsteady? What do we know about what he's already been doing that might make him a little bit not as sure-footed as normal? Again, remember, this is the carnival, and we already have established that he's been drinking a bit, right? Okay. The pipe, he said? It is further on, I said. But observe the white webwork that gleams on these cavern walls. He turned towards me and looked into my eyes with two filmy orbs that distilled the rheum of intoxication. He looked at me, but you could tell he was drunk. Like, shh, he doesn't know what's going on, okay? Niter, he said at length. Niter, I replied. How long have you had that cough? My poor friend found it impossible to reply for many minutes. It is nothing, he said at last. Come, I said with decision, we will go back. Your health is precious. You are rich, respected, admired, beloved. You are happy, as once I was. You are a man to be missed, but for me it's no matter. We will go back. You will be ill, and I cannot be responsible. Besides, there is Lucchese. So, they're about to go into the vaults, and Montresor says, you know what, you're sick. Let's not go. You could catch a cold. You could, who knows what could happen. I can't risk it. We'll go back. And then again, he brings up Lucchese. Do you think that Montresor wants them to go back? Of course not, right? This is all part of the plan to get him to come down to the vaults. So he's like, oh, we'll go back. And don't forget, I can always use Lucchese, because he knows. Okay, again, playing with his mind, tricking him into doing this. Okay. My poor friend found it impossible to reply for many minutes. It is nothing, he said at last. Come, I said with decision, we will go back. Your health is precious. You are rich, respected, admired, beloved. Oh, I already read this. I'm sorry. Enough, he said. The cough is a mere nothing. It will not kill me. I shall not die of a cough. True, I replied. And indeed, I had no intention of alarming you unnecessarily. But you should use all proper caution. A draught of this Medoc will help defend us from the damps. So he gives him some more wine, some more alcohol. Say, here, drink some of this. This will make you feel better. Here I knocked off the neck of the bottle, which I drew from a long row of its fellows that lay upon the mould. Drink, I said, presenting him the wine. He raised it to his lips with a leer. He paused and nodded at me familiarly, while his bells jingled. I drink, he said, to the buried reposed around us. So he's making a little toast, right, to those who rest around us. So basically, I'll say a drink to all of your ancestors who are literally sitting around us, right? And here is what the narrator says back. And I to your long life. He again took my arm, and we proceeded. The vaults, he said, these vaults are extensive. The Montresors, I replied, were a great and numerous family. I forget your arms. A huge human foot d'or in fields azure, the foot crushes a serpent rampant with fangs embedded in the heels. Okay, so Fortunato's asking the narrator, so what is your coat of arms? Like back in the day, everyone had their specific design for their family. And in his family, the Montresors, it was a foot stepping on a serpent. But the serpent has their fangs in the heels of the foot. So basically the serpent's like, if you step on us, we're going to kill you too. Interesting. Okay. And the motto? So again, what is your family motto? Nemo me impune lacessit, which is Latin for no one attacks me without impunity. Ooh, and we know what impunity means now, don't we? Okay. Good, he said. The wine sparkled in his eyes, and his bells jingled. My own fancy grew warm with the Medoc. We passed through walls of piled bones, with cask and puncheons intermingling, into the innermost recesses of the catacombs. I paused again, and this time I felt bold to seize Fortunato by the arm above the elbow. The nitre, I said. See, it increases. It hangs like moss upon the vaults. We are below the river's bed. The drops of moisture trickle among the bones. Come, we will go back ere it's too late. Your cough. So he's trying again. He's like, one more time. Shh, we should go back. Forget it. It's okay. We'll go back. It is nothing, he said. Let us go on. But first, another draught of the Medoc. So Fortunato was like, oh, I'm fine. The cough's no big deal. But let's have some more to drink. Yes? I broke and reached him a flagon of de Grave. He emptied it with a breath. His eyes flashed with a fierce light. He laughed and threw the bottle upwards in a gesticulation I did not understand. I looked at him in surprise. He repeated the movement, a grotesque one. You do not comprehend, he said. No, not I replied. Okay, so he took this bottle of wine, drank it, and then he makes this weird gesture, okay? He does some weird movement. And the narrator's like, what? I don't know what's going on. And so then Fortunato says, oh, then you are not of the Brotherhood. How? You are not of the Masons. Oh, yes, I said. Yes. Okay, a Mason, there's two different versions of Masons. It's actually a person who lays bricks. So they put bricks down, they put the cement in between. If you did a job like that, you'd be called a Mason, okay? But a Mason is also a secret organization that has little handshakes and stuff. So Fortunato is a Mason, as in the second type, the secret organization, and he did a secret symbol to see if the narrator was also a Mason. Okay, and he's like, oh, you must not understand. You're not a Mason then. You're not one of us cool kids. But the narrator replies back, oh, yes, I said. Yes. You? Impossible? A Mason. A Mason, I replied. A sign, he said. A sign. Prove to me that you actually are a Mason. It is this, I answered, producing a trowel from beneath the folds of my reclaire. So he's like, I've got a sign here. Here's a trowel that I have inside of my cloak. Trowel, again, is the thing you use literally to lay bricks, right? So he's like, well, I must be a Mason. I've got a trowel. Why would he be walking around with a trowel in his cloak? Okay, I don't know. You jest, he exclaimed, recoiling a few paces. But let's proceed to the Amontillado. Be it so, I said, replacing the tool beneath the cloak and again offering him my arm. He leaned upon it heavily. Like maybe he was having trouble walking now? We continued our route in search of the Amontillado. We passed through a range of low arches, descended, passed on, and descended again, arriving at a deep crypt, in which the foulness of the air caused our flambeau rather to glow than flame. And that is where we'll leave off for this session. Okay, so now they've gone all the way down into the catacombs. They're getting close, and they're going to find out about this Amontillado. So join us next video to find out what happens from here.